What is going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, Who Dat Davis here for you, powered by Nicole here on the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast. And as always, if you guys don't know, you will know that over here we bleed black and gold until we are dead and cold. And thank you guys for joining us today for a very special Black and Gold Breakdown podcast post-game show. If you're having a good Monday, great, because most of us not doing all that well because the Saints took on the Tennessee Titans, and once again, they came up short by 2 points. A very, very frustrating 2 weeks for the Who Dat Nation. Nicole, we got more players on the hot seat today, but we're going to do that later in the show because we have a very, very special guest that is going to be coming on just in a couple of moments here. But before we get to him, how are you doing today?
I am all right, honey. Just a little fatigued from work.
Work, especially after a frustrating Sunday. Never fun. But as I said earlier, we have a very special guest here today, guys. If you guys don't know who this person is, he is a writer over on States News Network. His name is Mr. Kyle T. Mosley. His Twitter @ is KT Mose. His Twitter handle is in the description. Kyle, Mr. Mosley, welcome officially to the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast. I hope your Monday has been better than that's in the both of ours.
It is what it is. I always say after a loss, man. But it's good to be on with you guys. I'm honored that you and Nicole had me in your, crosshairs to be able to be on with you tonight.
Yeah, I've always paid attention closely to the Saints News Network, especially since you guys checked me out first. Like, I don't think I've told Nicole this story, but Saints News Network has actually found my podcast just when I was coming up on about 1K subscribers. They're a big reason for why I am so passionate about doing this in the first place. So I owe a lot of credit to them and what they do. They're very underrated. They should be verified on Twitter, in my honest opinion, but they're not yet. And I think that's just criminal. That's just criminal. All right, it's criminal. But
what's funny about that, Aaron, is the fact that I started Saints News Network 15 years ago. We have grown. We have had over 5 podcasts on our network. We have trained, developed a lot of guys who now are Twitter verified, but we are not notable enough in their eyesight to be Twitter verified. But it's all good, man. I know that my guys, John Hendricks, Bob Rose, Brendan Borland, myself, as well as Dr. Paula Antoine, we do a great job putting out everything we can for the Who Dat Nation.
We are very blessed to have you guys covering the New Orleans Saints, all the Chris, Nick, and all those notable names. I know if Chris can get verified on Twitter, I know you guys aren't too far behind them. So
yeah, look, I was proud of Chris. I saw he got the check. Was it today or whatever? But yeah, Chris is always a good guy. He is now a part of the Sports Illustrated family with Spun. So Chris is always been a very passionate, good following, good content, very smart and bright young man.
Absolutely. Okay, it's time to get into the thick of things, everybody. And thank you to everybody following into the chat. We got the OG Jerry Poor, Saints 01, got all the originals here. Kachi Bose, another week the Saints come up short by 2 points. This time to the Tennessee Titans. Now, this loss doesn't sting as much because this is the best team in the AFC right now, and the Saints took them to the wire. They took a failed 2-point conversion, which is their 8th consecutive failed attempts since 2019. But a couple of things I've noticed. We're going to start over with the defense. Normally I start with the quarterback, but the defense has been the story for the Saints going into the season because they've been very good since I would believe 2018 when they've had a top 10 defense. The secondary, for the last 3 weeks now, the Saints have given up over 100 yards, if not 100 yards, to receivers such as Chris Godwin back in Tampa Bay. You got Patterson the week before against the Atlanta Falcons, and now this past week to a receiver we have no idea about. He went with 5 catches for a lead for 100 yards, and it's been a consistent pattern of issues with the underneath crossing routes. Some say that it can be that's just what they're willing to give up because there's a bend don't break mentality. Some say that It's just an issue that they're failing to address. My first question to you, Kyle, is what do you think? What do you make of this situation with the Saints secondary playing very, very uncharacteristic?
Good question. Marshawn Lattimore has a tendency to play down if he's not playing up to certain guys like Mike Evans or Julio Jones or someone to that nature, right? Johnson came out of the blue. Really, think about it, because Brown was really the guy that you would think you would key in on. But Johnson was being left free to be able to roam through the center. The crossing routes has always been a problem with the Saints. As long as I have known, especially under Dennis Allen. But I think when you look at Marshawn Lattimore, he was trailing a lot. And I don't know if it was the technique he was in or if he was expecting some inside help from the safety or what. But you could tell they also missed CD Deuce a lot on yesterday. So if it's the technique or if it's just the plan that they had, the Tennessee Titans exposed it and they used it to their advantage.
Oof, that's a good take. Got one more question for her to turn it over to Nicole because I know she's got some things on her mind. We're going to go back over to the offense now, and the offense looked pretty, I would say, a little better compared to last week against the Falcons, specifically the receivers. Deontay Harris was coming close to being the first Saints receiver this season to break 100 yards. But, of course, some miscues that stumped the offense as a whole, particularly the offensive line. For whatever reason, this is another consistent issue with the Saints offensive line, whether it be giving up the interiors or giving up the stunts, especially Cesar Ruiz. Kyle, I'm perplexed here. Ruiz went into this season very confident in being the right guard, right? But granted, he had to swap over to center when Eric McCoy went down. So I'll give him a little bit of a break there. But when he swapped back, he looked like he's still having problems. I don't know if it's a confidence thing or if it's just he's going up against, I don't know, some pretty vaunted interior guys. What do you make of this lack of discipline from Cesar Ruiz, who many of us had a lot of high hopes in his second year?
Good question. I think it may be more he was comfortable being a center. You saw when Eric McCoy went down, he picked up the center position, really didn't have much of an issue, especially when it came to blocking and being able to take care of certain of the protection packages, right? But when McCoy came back in, Ruiz has a tendency of reaching in his blocking. And you saw that one play where the guy just did a swim technique, went through him like he wasn't there. And he's not moving his feet as well, and that's a concern. So I don't know how the Saints are going to address this this season. They may address it next season. But you did hear Coach Payton saying he's pretty upset, and John Hendricks reported on this today, even in the media call, that there's a possibility some of these positions will have some changes in the next week or two. So if these guys keep performing at a subpar level, because the NFC South is still in their reach, if they allow teams like Carolina or the Falcons to be able to surpass them, it's only their fault. They're shooting themselves in the foot with silly penalties and not being able to play their position as well as they're expected to do.
Everybody following in, this is Kyle T. Mosley from Saints News Network. His Twitter handle is KTMos, down there in the description. Make sure you guys go give him some support down there on the channel. I will link his YouTube channel in the comment section following the end of this live stream. And now I'm going to turn it over to Nicole. She's probably got a couple of questions for you, and then we're going to get into a couple more things I want to bring up. Nicole, floor is yours.
All right. Hi, Kyle. My one lingering question is, a lot of reporters are saying that this game opens eyes on things
Sorry, I lost
for
Nicole
Peyton
there.
position-wise.
Sorry, can you repeat that question? You cut out.
Did she say that it
I was
opens?
saying, a few reporters in.
Gary, did she say did it open Coach Payton's eyes?
Not sure. I'm trying to get it. Trying to adjust, see if there's any audio issues on my end that can help her. Nicole, try one more time for us to see if we can get it up there.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Got it.
Okay, so a few reporters were saying Sean's eyes have opened to the position problems that us spectators / reporters have been seeing for a while. What do you think was the opener for that from this game?
Look, Coach sees the film and he studies the film better than anybody else. I don't know if his eyes were open. I haven't read reports from anybody else saying that, but if they did say that, I would say this. He knows who's in position, who's out of position, who's performing, who's not performing. Those guys get graded every week. So I think it comes to a tipping point where you can't keep making the same mistakes over and over and again. You can't keep having the same false start penalties or the little undisciplined, I call them really undisciplined penalties. And a team that's undisciplined will make the small errors and make them at the wrong time. You looked at what happened with Adam Troutman for the 2-point conversion. You cannot have a false start and be so eager to get off the block like he did in that position. You have to wait for the ball. You can't, as a defender, twist a receiver and expect a PI not to be called. You cannot do certain little things that you have been taught since Pop Warner and expect that your team is not going to suffer. Brian Johnson cannot miss not 1 point at extra point, but 2. And if you looked at the side-by-side video that they had, it was the same type of kick where he went across his body. So I'm saying the techniques, the discipline has to come back for the New Orleans Saints if they want to have a chance to have a push into the postseason.
Nicole, I'll give you one more question.
I agree.
Got one more form?
You basically covered the other ones that I had. That was just the last one for me.
Oh, come
Fair
on.
enough.
Come on with another one. Come back.
Come on, Nicole. You got it. Bring it on.
Bring the heat.
Nicole is scatterbrained right now.
All right. I have a question for you guys then. All right.
Okay.
Aaron and Nicole, if you guys had to make a change right now for Coach Payton, what will that change be?
Ooh. If I had to make a change, I would change. That's a good one. I'm caught between making a change at the interior of the offensive line or the tight end position. I would say the interior of the offensive line is more prudent at this point. Calvin Throckmorton.
Here's the question. A lot of people said we're gonna make a change. We want to see that guy cut. But who will you change that person out with after 9 games in the season? At this point, who do you find on the street that can be able to come in and do that job adequately? Or who do you already have in the building that can be able to do it? That's the problem the New Orleans Saints has been running into this season because of the fact the injuries are compounding. The players who are being affected, like Teron Armstead, he was out. James Hurst did the best he could at that position. You have guys in the interior like Pete, who's out for the remainder of the season. You're running into a situation where you have to either go with these guys. If you don't go with these guys, you can't trade for anybody now, right? So how do you get them to become more disciplined and sound in how they perform? It's a slippery slope. So the one position I would say, and Aaron, I have to agree with you about the tight end position, because Adam Troutman, before the season, talking to Sean Payton and listened to the press conferences, and he led us to believe that Aaron Troutman was the guy for the tight end position. You let Jared Cook walk because of financial concerns that he had. So right now, what do you do? What do you do with that position? Juwan Johnson, he may not be the best blocker for the team, but he has the better hands at tight end, and he can be able to get open and create separation against a nickel cornerback or a linebacker. So I think if you're going to make one change, that's the change you should make immediately.
Speaking of Adam Troutman, I want to add one extra question on top of that. We came into the season expecting a lot out of Adam Troutman because, honestly, many of us were so disgruntled and had a bad taste in our mouth from Jared Cook and that crucial fumble in the divisional round last postseason. Is it fair to say that we put way too much expectation on a young tight end coming into his second year, still trying to learn his ways at the pro level?
Yes and no. The no. Let's talk about the no first. No, you're a professional. You're at that position, so you know what's expected of you as a professional. I think what's expected right now of Troutman is to be able to pass block, being able to run block, being able to catch the football. He's fumbled the football. He has been offside several times. He has had false starts as well. He has missed blocks when it came down to some crucial running plays and pass protection. So, yeah, you're a professional, you're expected to do so. As soon as you sign that dotted line, you have to perform at that level. Now, yes, he's a second-year player. So who else could be there to be able to teach him, to guide him?
Well, it's supposed to be Nick Van Ness, who I believe is turning into a really big disappointment right now because he's supposed to be the one that spearheads this tight end room, this very inexperienced tight end room. And you got guys like Garrett Griffin going out there, or Juwan Johnson, who admittedly is at the tight end spot now, but he's just a flexed out tight end, a receiver flexed out as a tight end. English, my dude, English.
But Aaron, let me ask this question.
Okay.
So Burnett has been injured. He hasn't been able to help out. He hasn't been able to contribute on the field, but he can contribute in the film room, in the locker room, in the tight end room. So Crawford is a very intelligent young man. He has an engineering degree, electrical engineering degree. So you expect a lot from him being able to pick up certain nuances of the game. He observed most of last season as well. But now he's in a position where he should be that guy elevating his game. He hasn't really done that. So I don't know if it's the sophomore jinx. I don't know if it's just nervousness. I just think he hasn't performed at the level he's capable of performing. Sometimes it's up here, not just here. So I don't know if it's registering up there.
Good point, and it most very well could be. Guys, for anybody who doesn't know Adam Troutman's background, he was a very good pass-catching tight end in the University of Dayton. He caught a school record of 14 receiving touchdowns. 7 of those were 20 yards or longer. So he definitely has the hands, and to transition from from that to not being able to catch the football. It could very well be something up here. We don't know. He looked a little gassed out there as well. It looked like it could be a signal that he might be a little out of shape, could be a little pudgy. I've seen
Troutman up close. He's in shape. So I wouldn't say that he's out of shape, but I can say this, Aaron. I think that football may have been going to him on that 2-point conversion because he was anxious. You saw that, right? He was anxious, when he flinched. Could that football been going to him, or was he supposed to have a critical block to seal the edge? Right? So those are things I would really look at Troutman. That accentuating the skills of a person, right? So why don't you accentuate the skills that's necessary with Jawan Johnson? If he's not a good blocking tight end, put Griffin in, let him do the blocking when it comes to the running pass protection, and let Johnson be able to create some separation and get some of those footballs down the seam.
Fair point. I got one more question. Going to turn it to Nicole, and then I'll let her close out the show. I got one more, and that's we're going to talk about Trevor Siemian real quick. Trevor Siemian, since his last 2 starts, he's brought the Saints back from a 24-6 deficit, and then he came right back and brought him back from a 23-6 deficit. He came back down from a 2-possession, 3-possession game, brought the Saints back to be able to win a football game. And once again, he's just come up short. In this game against the Tennessee Titans, he finished with 19 out of 34 for 298 yards and 2 touchdowns. And you guys are want to comparing that against other NFC South quarterbacks. He did better than Matt Ryan and Tom Brady this week. But some people in the Who Dat Nation believe that a change at the quarterback position is needed to give the Saints offense a different type of spark. And we're obviously going to be talking about Taysom Hill here because he adds another dimension with his ability to run out of the pocket. But I'm on the fence about that because Trevor Siemian has been playing very well. And compared to pocket presence and awareness, Trevor Siemian is a little more experienced at that. We saw what Taysom Hill can do when he's in the pocket. He's either late on his reads or he's just taking an unnecessary sack. And we've only seen that one time yesterday with Trevor Siemian during the 2-minute drill. Kyle, my question to you is, what do you make of Trevor Siemian and his performance so far at the quarterback position? And do you believe a change to Taysom Hill is needed to give this offense a spark?
I think they still need to keep the same rotation going on with Taysom Hill and Trevor. Trevor hasn't put the Saints in position to lose the game. He hasn't turned over the football. He has missed some passes, but what quarterback doesn't? Drew Brees did. A lot of people don't want to acknowledge that, but I recall a time when before some of you guys were even born, where Drew Brees was passing the ball and throwing double-digit interceptions, right? So all I'm saying is this. If you're going to replace Trevor Siemian, is it Taysom Hill? It can't be Ian Book right now, right? So I think Trevor Siemian gives the New Orleans Saints the best chance to continue trying to win for the rest of the season.
Fair enough. Do you believe that Taysom Hill needs to be added in more to offensive play packages to feature more in the offense? Taysom Hill was set to be, taking a snap under center for the 2-minute the 2-point attempt before the obvious hurtful false start, and that was a good situation to use him in. But we haven't seen Taysom Hill used as much. And do you believe his concussion he suffered at the hands of the Washington football team plays some manner of role in that?
And you have to be careful when it comes to a player coming out of concussion. I'm sure that's on the back of Sean Payton's mind to be able to be careful of how he utilizes Taysom Hill. But I think Taysom is fine. Taysom looked like the Taysom of old, running as passionately, as hard as he could, right? I just don't know. I think get in trouble for this one. I think there were times in Sean Payton's career where he relieved himself of the play calling responsibilities. He did them back up after a game or two. I wonder if right now Sean Payton could be best utilized, taking a step back, help managing the team, and allow Pete Carmichael to be able to call some of these plays. You saw early on in the season where Payton was slow in calling the plays onto the field and causing delay of game penalties. And I think in the Tennessee game, they had a situation where they had to call a timeout down to those seconds being expired. So I don't know. I think right now, if you're going to look at some changes, I'm an old teacher at heart. My mom was a teacher for 40 years. I taught math myself, but I'm also a chemist at heart as well. That's where I got my degree in. And you got to look at why things are happening. Why are the Saints lethargic? Why are the Saints having slow starts? Why hasn't this team been able to come out the blocks and score a touchdown on their opening drive? Those are some of the things that you need to really pay attention to and understand that the New Orleans Saints have a talented team and they can continue to try to win. But you can't make the silly mistakes and the undisciplined mistakes. Those are usually characteristics of a team that's going to be watching somebody else in the playoffs.
Thank you for that, man. That was very insightful. This is why I follow Saints News Network's guys like this, Kyle T. Mosley, very insightful, very experienced in what he's talking about. Please go support this channel, guys. Please go support this channel. My final question, going to let you get up out of here. Just your quick thoughts on the Philadelphia Eagles coming up next week. What are your quick thoughts on that, and what do the Saints need to do to right this ship and get in position to maintain their lead, their second place spot in the NFC South?
Philadelphia played a hell of a game on Sunday, so the Eagles are flying high. Yeah. So, but yes, it's a good one. Hurts is very confident right now. And we saw what happened last season when the Saints went up to Philly and they came out with the big L, right? So I think the Saints team still can win. Philly has a problem against good defenses. Saints cannot allow Philly to go up early on, and they need to rally from behind any longer. If it's going to be one of those type of games where you grind it out, give the ball to Mark Ingram, give the ball to Taysom Hill. Those are your two bell cows right now. If Alvin Kamara is able to come back on next week, all right, fine. You have three guys. But I think they need to utilize Taysom Hill's ability, his speed out of the backfield, like they did with Mark Ingram. Those wheel routes, man, those were right on point. And Mark could have scored that 2-point conversion if Jack Rabbit didn't come over and tip the ball. So I think right now the New Orleans Saints can win the football game. I would like to see how the defense handles some of those misdirections that Philly may have, and how they're going to handle the tight ends as well, coming out of the backfield if it's not going to, not backfield, off the line of scrimmage, if C.D. Deuce is not going to be available. Will P.J. Williams be the one, or will it be more of one of the linebackers' responsibility or what?
Fun fact for everybody who doesn't know, the Philadelphia Eagles, I want to say Atlanta Falcons so bad, but I don't know why. The Philadelphia Eagles have yet to win a home game so far this season, and hopefully that trend continues next week because the Saints, they desperately need this win more than anything. They want to keep their playoff hopes alive. But that's going to do it for today's episode of Black and Gold Breakdown Podcast, guys. I apologize for it being short, but my man Kyle T here, he has other duties he needs to attend to, and Nicole is not feeling all that great, so that's why you saw her leave a little early. I will be checking up on her immediately following this to make sure she's okay. But thank you to everybody who's who filed in, who got their comments out there. The Last Saint got his comments out there. He's a guy that really is an advocate for Taysom Hill. You got Hoodie Jude. You got Slim South 504. You got 504 Cole, and of course the OG Jerry Poor. You probably seen him around a lot, Jerry Poor. Thank you to everybody. It's been a very good pleasure.
Jerry's all over the place. Jerry, how you doing, man?
Hey, Jerry, you got a shout out, brother. But it's a pleasure, it's an honor and privilege to give my chance to interview you. I hope you have a good the rest of your night. Enjoy the Los Angeles Rams and the 49ers game. It's going to be very interesting to see what OBJ looks like in Rams colors. Hopefully he and Von Miller can not have caught out to a slow start, because we don't need the Rams heating up right now. All right, we don't. But that's it. That's all. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the Monday Night Football game coming up. And I say less than 20 minutes. And if always you guys don't know, you will know that over here we bleed black and gold until we're dead and cold. We will see you guys next time, which is going to be this Saturday for the pregame show against the Philadelphia Eagles. Until next time, guys.